This is part 2 of our lesson on sine law and cosine law practice. So we're going to take a look at part B. We have a triangle here that has a side length of 54 meters, an angle of 60 degrees, an angle of 40 degrees, and a side x that we are trying to solve for. So the first thing we want to do is try to figure out whether we are going to use sine law or cosine law for this question. So in order to use sine law, you need to know an angle and an opposite side. So I know 60 degrees, but the opposite side is x, which I don't know. But I also know 40 degrees and that 54 meters across from it. So I have an angle and an opposite side that I know both numbers for, which means I'm allowed to use sine law. So I think we're going to use sine law for this question. So next step, label. So I always start with A, and I let A be an angle. So there are two different angles in this question. If I was solving for one of them, I would let that be A. And since that is not the case, I think I'm going to pick the one that's across from the side that I know. It just works out a little bit better that way. But if you chose this to be your angle A, you would still get the right answer in the end. So I'm going to call this one A. Let's call this one B. This one C. And then across from angle A is side A. Across from angle B is side B. And across from angle C is side C. Okay, when I take a look at my diagram, I have numbers for A and I have numbers for B. I do not have any numbers for C, so I think we're just going to use A and B in this question. So I'm going to write down my formula for sine law, and it is at the top as well. I have sine A over A equals sine B over B. And then we're going to substitute in all the things we know. So angle A is 40. So I have sine of 40 divided by side A, which is 54. And then that equals sine of angle B, which is 60, divided by side B, which is x. Now from here, I don't really like that I have fractions or that x is in the denominator, so my next step is going to be to cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply x times sine of 40. And then multiply 54 times sine of 60. Now you have choices at this point. You could leave everything like this, and then our next step would be to divide by sine of 40. I think for some of you, though, it's easier if you work these out as decimals first, and then we'll do our next step. So it's your choice, whatever makes more sense to you. But I'm going to calculate sine of 40. And I get this decimal. I'm going to write the whole thing down. So I have 0.6427876609. And then on the other side, I've got 54 times sine of 60. Now, a common mistake that I personally make is that I don't hit equals. So here I did 54 times sine 60. This number that's on my screen is actually just sine of 60. So I need to hit equals to get the actual answer, and I make that mistake more often than I'd like to admit. So just learn from my mistake and make sure you hit equals at the end. So we've got 46.7653718. Over. Okay, so from here, I want to get x by itself, so I want to get rid of this number that's there. So we are going to divide both sides, because we're multiplying, by 0.6427876609. And then I'm going to be a little lazy on this side and then just sort of write out the beginning of the number. So I always write the whole number out on this side so that I know when I'm dividing that I'm doing it right. And then on this side, I usually just write part of the number. Okay, so we're going to calculate I still have, no, I don't. I don't have that number anymore. So 46.7653718 divided by 0.642787609 gives me 72.75. Now, if I look at the next digit, it's a 4. So if anything is a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, we leave the number the same. If this was a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, I would push that up to 7, 6. So I'm going to leave that as 72.75. I'm going to put a dot on my equal sign to show that I rounded. And this is in meters, since it's a side length. So it is 72.79 meters. Okay, you can join me in the next video to see how to do the next question.